Hello folks, Matt here with a quick guide on Spear of Solaris. I found that this league I found a pretty good build, I believe, based on Spear of Solaris. I'll go very quickly early on for people that only want the fresh details. So Spear of Solaris, as you all know, has three specific components. The first one is the spear going down. Then there's a beam that does quick successions of hits, and then there's burning ground going all around. Right? A lot of what makes Spear of Solaris very unpopular is that you need to aim. It takes forever for you to wind up the skill, and then the people need to stay where your actual beam is, right? So I'm not using any of that portion of the skill. I'm actually using the Ignited Ground. Ignited Ground, surprisingly, is very potent. So you can see from the default damage is already pretty good, 766 at 12.3. That's on the impact. And then the pulse, of course, is way less because it actually does a lot of pulses. But what I'm actually looking for is the actual Ignited Ground, which does the real damage for 1700 damage, right? So the concept of this build is very simple, really. You stack up the glory. Of course, this is a glory skill, but it's not a big deal because you actually can use Surface Infamy like many people do. It's actually an excellent skill that increases area of effect and does more damage, as well as generating glory based on the life spent. So as long as you have like blood magic, I'm doing despairs, and then Spear of Solaris just fires up right away. And then very simply, in my main hand I have my spear, and then my offhand I have those fantastic grenades, and that's it really. That's the whole gist of it. You just create a skill that's very powerful. Does at best with this setup, for example, it does about a million a second, and then I move around the map just this, rolling around, putting flags on, right, banners. For this specific character, I went with the tacticians, but you can actually make it work probably with Witch Hunter, Gemling. I believe a Shaman would be very good for this as well. Anything that is able to leverage glory would be good. In my case, Tactician is really just a choice like any other. I looked at persistent buff, found it to be very solid, no puns intended. So looking at the buffs, because of my character and class, right, I'm mostly centered around Rage as a way to actually gain damage. Rage is a very good synergy with attack skills, of course. And then Black Flame, which is of course extremely powerful in terms of ignite magnitude, which transforms your ignite into chaos damage. So I'm Withering Presence as well as Despair, right? Nothing special about it. This is all very standard. And to gain even more damage, I'm going with Dreaded Light for a spell damage per 10 spirits. I have about 250 spirits, so that's a lot of spell damage, right? And then I transfer that spell damage using Crown of Eyes. Again, very standard stuff. So that spirit roughly relates to what 350 attack damage, which I right? And of course, since I'm using Rage, I'm going to anoint Mystical Rage point. So when I'm using Rage with 85 actual Rage, I'm gaining over 160 spell damage, which then becomes an attack damage, right? Of course. And then other stuff like maximum Rage when using Glory skill. Yeah, all that to say that one thing that you need to consider when using Spear of Solaris Ignite, like I do, is that the attack is actually snapshotted, right? Snapshotted based off the default attack, so you can't really rely on crit damage or what the monster state is at that point, right? Even though in theory you could do more damage by spreading Ignited from an attack that critted, in practice we don't have any leverage on that. Leverage we have really is how many buffs we obtain in a specific amount of time, right? We have Eternal Rage to gain the Rage. I have extra Rage that I'm doing any glory skills, including my banners in this case. And then I have elemental conflux if I really want to push it, to wait for fire conflux to kick in. And if fire conflux kicks in, that's where I do the most damage. Even though in most cases, for mapping for example, it's not really needed. You're looking at wait for my war banner. Of course, war banner is another one of those. So assuming you get your fire conflux and war banner, right now I don't have fire conflux, but I'm at 700. Right? That's not including, of course, Despair and Wither. So yeah, a very potent way to play, and also, as you can see, the spreading of the oil is so insane that I'm basically firing from everywhere at once. So there's no need for me to aim at all. I only need to put my banners down, move around,
need more time.
shoot a little bit of oil, and then most things die. That's really that cool. Okay. Let's see it in action, won't we? Take any maps at all. Let's go for... Don't have anything that impressive right now, but... This one. Alright, so now if I wanted the maximum level of damage, I first charge up my Spear of Solaris by wasting some life on these pairs. I'm going to wait for my War Banner to kick in, and then in theory I could wait for my Fire Conflux as well to make the biggest ignite possible. But that's kind of a pitfall. I wouldn't recommend that. You definitely don't need it for like almost all of the monsters that you'll see here. So you put the banner and you just start the skill, right? And that's it. Once it's started, whatever. You just move from one pack to everything dies. The fire keeps spreading wherever you go.
Who's next? Need a sec.
Yeah, fire unfortunately is kind of hard on the GPU. I'm going to tell you right away. Meaning, it's actually, I don't know, it stacks very weirdly on the ground, and for a lot of the it's a bit sad about it myself. I wish you would optimize this a little more, or at least give you the option to get, you know, fire effects down so that you don't need to worry so much about it. Alright. Apart from that, if you lose your fire at any point, or if you don't want to carry the fire from one end of the map to the next, it's totally doable. Don't worry about it. Just, you know, move around. It doesn't all that much. You can make it back fairly easily, so you don't need to think about it. Worst case scenario, you're just going to start your tanking round. Oh, it's not a big deal at all. Now, regarding map layouts, sometimes some map layouts are better than others. Of course, big plains for us is the best. Small buildings are really rough sometimes, like catacombs and such with small hallways can be a pain in the ass. Yeah. And you see how I missed with my spear, but it doesn't matter at all. So that's what I'm talking about. Is there another one? Oh yeah, there's a boss. So that's supposed to be a boss. Doesn't really matter. So regarding defense, because I'm using tacticians here, I'm looking at the deflection for armor. I'm armor stacking somewhat. I'm also using that charm that makes you possessed by the spirit of the bear. So because of that, I'm taking fewer hits damage. But yeah, I'm fairly tanky. Like under the Defiance banner, over 20k armor with about a 50% chance to effect, which is a 40% decrease on the damage I take. So yeah, really not much.
Need more time.
Great. Maybe a slam might hit me, but even then I defend for twice the armor I got. So it's not really a big deal for me. Like, I would get the slam at about 40k armor with more than 3,000 HPs if I had the decision. Yeah, that's the boss. Not much to say really. You move around, you wait for it to die. Alright, now, you know, I'll go in details about this specific setup for the build, but I believe just with the core concept of having a good spear, having a way to scale attack damage, and probably Black Flame, or a way to have very strong expose, you can make it work, right? For me though, I also have the 8 Forge, pretty good, well rolled 8 Forge that provides me about 8 maximum rage. I have extra maximum rage on the crown eye and full core of ferocity. Of course, I'm running Berserker. Berserk means that for 85 rage, I'm actually losing 8.5%, which means in turn that I need some regeneration for Morior. I got some life regen, and also some life regen on the tree, although not that much. Real hard life regen right there, and that does the trick, right? I'll provide the POB. One of the things that really bugs me with the build is how much attributes is required. Because of course, Spear of Solaris is a dexterity-based skill, and then the rage and permanent buffs are strength-based, and your curse is intelligence, of course. So yeah, that's kind of hurting. So that's why I'm going for the extra attributes and reduced attributes requirements. Then we go all the way to the left towards scaling rage to armor, very good. Applying armor to damage, blood magic required. Yeah, that's about it. For gems, I chose as many permanent buffs as I could. I even have like a lot of leftover spirit if I wanted another one. To be honest, I'm short on. I have a disengage that I could replace if I wanted to. The disengage provides a desecrated ground if I want, and a way to generate shocking ground. Assuming I'm beside a boss, I crit it, inexorable critical, shocking ground right there. Yeah, not a big deal, but that's one way I make it work. The banners in my case are pretty necessary, of course, because I have extra elemental and aura magnitude. So if you look at the armor, 17k right now. If I put the banner up, 70. Oh yeah, right. I'm not with my right now. At 20k over. And yeah, and as you can see, the application of armor to different elements are pretty good as well. And you have to understand that here, when it says you defend with 200% of your maximum physical damage reduction is 50%, this actually doesn't apply to elemental hits, right? So I assume this means that, for example, for fire damage taken, I reduce the hit that I take as if I had 50,000 armor applied to fire, and that damage reduction can go over 50%. Which means I'm extremely tanky for specific elemental hits. That being said, what's gonna kill this character is ground effect. Very hard to see where you stand, right? For that very reason, I went with this, and you need to balance your support gems, of course, and I chose immune to shock if the majority of your seconded support gems are green, so that I don't have the surprise of getting, you know, a shocked ground and damage applied to me without knowing what I'm stepping on. Because as you've seen, the ground becomes total fire everywhere, and you can't really see what's happening at that point. Anything else? No, I think that just about covers it. Of course, Black Flame extremely powerful, especially with the fire modifier. Mine is at 120, but with the proper corruption, you can go to 145 ignite magnitude, and you totally disregard the reduced ignite duration on enemy's line, because since you're pretting your ignite based on the oil doesn't care about the ignite duration that you have. So that's one of our very strong side, is we really don't care about the ignite duration at all. In fact, we're scaling a lot of damage element deals damage faster, because this actually increases our damage without reducing the duration at all. The fire is still going to be there. You fire up your lance on the ground, and the ground actually ignites. So who really cares about, the duration of the ignite? No one. You just shoot your oil grenade once more and the fire persists on. Yeah, some cooldown recovery rate for the oil grenade is good. Here we have glancing blows. It's extremely powerful for us right now, because glancing blows, it makes it you evade. Chances are unlucky, but we're going iron reflex to transfer evasion to armor, and then we're just relying on the deflection rating of 20% of your armor. Right? So surprisingly, that's pretty good. When you look at deflect chance, we're at about 50% right now with the lucky chance. So 50% to reduce any hits we take by 40%. I think this happens before the armor reduction also. Yeah, all things considered, the defense is nothing to scoff at. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you for